Hi everybody, it's Nev here from the Plane Talking UK podcast, and I'm at the Renaissance Hotel in London, very near Heathrow Airport. Look who I've got next to me. It's Liz Piper. Hi Liz.
Hi Nev.
What on earth are you doing here?
Well, I was driving past the airport in Toronto on Friday and I ended up on a plane.
Wow.
And here I am.
Fantastic. So what are we going to do today?
Well, I heard there was some kind of event going on, maybe in honor of Captain Nick. So we're going to go down and see what that's all about.
Very cool. Well, we've got a video crew over at the pub in Petersfield where we're going to. So let's hand over to you, Matt.
Yes, thanks, Nev. Hi, yes, we are live here at the Trooper Inn. We're in a little place called Froxfield, just off the A3, so absolutely beautiful village, beautiful. We've been really lucky with the weather, really sunny, so really can't wait. Nick's due probably in about an hour's time, something like that, so we're very much looking forward to the big surprise on his face.
I want to, yeah.
Surprise!
Liz, what are you doing? Oh, hi, everybody. Hello. Auntie. How are you? I'm good. What are you doing here?
I don't know, I just found my way here.
Hi, friend. Oh, good to see you. Matt. Brilliant. Oh, yeah. Adam. Hi, Sam.
Nice to meet you. I thought you just your husband off in fine.
Good morning, Dale. I'm going. Yeah, that's Fifi, mate. Liz. Very nice.
Hello, Matt. This is our son. This is Matt. This is Ricky. He does Peter's cake, which is the mother.
You know.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm very good.
So did you have any idea at all?
Not really, no. Oh, I did actually keep someone peeking around the corner a moment ago, so that gave me a clue. I thought that's very odd behaviour for the average
Especially around
pub.
these parts, you know.
Exactly right, yes. Oh, isn't this brilliant? Aren't you nice? Thank you very much. I don't know quite what to say. Stop recording.
Toronto, and it's home to me. But as I've gone, it's gotten longer and colder, and I think
I'm just going to show you a traditional RAF thing. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to celebrate the end of a remarkable aviation career. Young Nick, Captain Nick, Squadron Leader Nick, Glider Pilot Nick. Just to put it in context first, I'd just like to say that Nick has been a bit like a bad penny or a bad smell. He's recurred throughout my life at various crises points, just so that you know why Lou, Valerie and I are sitting here. I first met Nick on a parade ground at RAF Henlow. He was on Yellow Squadron and the good guys were on Blue Squadron.
What squadron were you on?
Blue Squadron. Naturally. Oh, I fell into that one, didn't I? Sharpen up, drink more red wine. Prior to that, Nick had been in the Air Training Corps and he'd got his Silver Sea flying Sedberg gliders, swapping cockpits with people mid-flight just for fun in tandem, was it side by side? So he was a bit of a reprobate before we met him. And then the good guys met him when we got to RAF North Luffenham for our aeromedical training. And there was this Yellow Squadron guy who was coming on our flying course to be 4-course. And Nick and I sort of bonded during 4-course. He drove a motorbike for a start, which helped. The only problem was he was a bit of an antisocial person because at weekends he used to go off to see his girlfriend, where is she down there? I think she was a teacher at Teacher Training College down in Winchester or somewhere where I had no idea where that was. And we survived Dick Macefield and everything that the RAF could throw us at 4-course RAF Linton-on-Ouse, Jet Provost Mark 3s, Jet Provost Mark 5s, and I think we started with about 20 and we ended up with 10, and of the 10 there are still 7 alive. And I did invite the other 5, but they said not bloody likely. After that, we had a break between basic jet training on Jet Provost and going to advanced flying training school. The last thing I needed right then was a girlfriend because I'd nearly fallen out of the course on basic training. And we had about a couple of months off, and Nick rings me up one, I think it was an Easter holiday or a May Day holiday. He says, "Hey, Nigel, do you want to meet for a beer at the Bear Green pub?" Was it King's Head on the A24, I think? And I said, "Sure, mate, yeah," because it's sort of halfway between Guildford and where I was staying with my mum. And he says, "Well, I'll bring Jilly." And I think you're still engaged at that point. I said, "Sure." And Jilly's bringing a friend. So that was the first number one marker in my life. Here we are, 42 years later or whatever. So Nick introduced me to my wife-to-be. Thank you, Nick, for that.
It was Julie's fault. Don't forget that these two were at Teacher Training College together.
And I found out where Winchester was. Then we went through flying training, and then we went down to Haverfordwest. I think we both got married somewhere along the way. Yeah, that's right. And it didn't take long in those days, is it? 22-year-old, well, being married going out 11 months, let's get married for the rest of our lives, right? Seems to work. And so then we're down in Haverfordwest. There is a tactical weapons unit where you learn to kill people. Up until that point, you've been learning how to try and stay alive. And Nick wasn't very good at dropping bombs, but he's very good at shooting bullets at other aeroplanes. So he went off to Air Defenders. Actually, the real reason was because he kept getting lost around Wales.
That's true.
And,
That was the real reason.
and they said, "You need a navigator in the back seat, mate."
Best we give you a navigator.
So they gave him a navigator. We went our ways, he went his way, and about 3 years later, we'd both been kicked off our first squadron thinking, "We're cool." And we end up going to RAF Leeming and meeting to become flying instructors. We were both a bit disgruntled about that, and that's where we met Dave, DL, down the end. And we went off to flying training school, and Nick and I went through the course together, and we're now trying to be responsible pilots, showing people how to fly aeroplanes. And so, Valley being Valley at RAF Anglesey, tend to get a bit fogged out, and the weather was poor. And so Nick came up with this bright idea, let's go to Lucas. I've got mates up at Lucas, and we can have a barrel of beer. So we somehow persuaded the flight commander to send us off to Lucas. We were going to practice something on the way there, have a couple of beers, practice something on the way back. And so we were super keen to be leaving all this behind. So we jump in the aeroplane, whole row of Hawk aeroplanes, we walk out. He goes around the left side, I go around the right side, we jump in the aeroplane, whiz off, land at Lucas at the other end, and now we're really in beer mode. Let's go get a beer. And I said, "Okay, Nick, check the fatigue meters." He goes in the nose wheel bay, and goes 127, 336. Says, no, that doesn't work. And then we realised we'd come in the wrong aeroplane. So at that point, Nick bravely rang up the flight commander, and we turned around and he orders.
You did say wait till the end of the weekend, didn't you?
I did.
And did I listen to you?
No.
No.
So he rang up Dave Nelson. Dave Nelson said, "Yeah, we know. Get your ass back here." So we got straight in the aeroplane.
No beer.
No beer.
We did
All the way back.
not. We did not get £200. We did not.
Wrong way, Ferguson didn't. Well, it was wrong plane, and I was going to give him absolute. Well, it's all your fault, Nick. But I did look in my logbook, and I was the captain. And then later on, I decided to go parachuting, and Nick is the second person to be by my bedside when I wake up. And I think, okay, Nick, thank you very much for being here when I've ejected from an aeroplane. And then I eventually go out of the Air Force and I go to Hong Kong, and I get fired by my airline. For the first time, I might add. And then and guess who's there when I get fired? Nick.
So I just had to land, and Nigel says, "You wanted some news? They've just fired me."
So I can safely say that if you want a good friend, Nick's a good friend, but he makes your life a lot more exciting. Nick, now after his shaky start, climbing from cockpit to cockpit on the Sedberg or whatever it was in a glider, he has amassed about 20,000 hours, and he doesn't know how many, because he lost his logbook because he's not digitally competent and his navigator didn't tell him how to do it. Nick's got about 20,000 hours. I have to give him a lot of kudos because he doesn't have 1 hour on a Boeing. He might have flown McDonnell Douglas, but he never flew a Boeing, and so that's his claim to fame, or one of his claims to fame. Fortunately, having kept in touch with him, I've learned that he's a pretty good raconteur, which is how you guys have got to know him, I think. And at this point, I'm handing the raconteur over to Nick to do a shorter speech than I've done, I hope.
I have to start by thanking you all for making the great effort to come and join me. This was very unexpected and a real pleasure to see you all. Liz flew all the way from Toronto. I can't believe it. Thank you very much, Liz.
My pleasure.
Dave and Fee, I haven't seen them for years, and that was such a surprise. We've got air traffic from Heathrow, who I thought were very brave to come, Graham and Adam. And because, I have rarely had a good word to say about air traffic. Yeah. But yeah, to be absolutely fair, they always give as good as they get. We've got friends from PT UK, and you guys are wonderful. We love you. Got my 2 sons here. Hey, hi boys. Thanks so much. And my darling wife, who has sat beside me through thick and thin for how many years now?
Oh, only about 44.
44 years. Okay, that's
Double
not bad.
death.
Oh, 45.
Oh, 45 now. Okay, that's good.
I was
That's good.
20 when I met you, I suppose, so yeah, no, it's 44.
So, 45 years of flying, well, actually professional flying, 48 years, I guess, since I did my first solo. And it's all come to a grinding halt. But it's made all the better because I have made some wonderful friends in the aviation community, and I will be able to live vicariously through them and through all the other friends I have, and I've had my interest, my love of aviation renewed through APG and through my friends in PT UK, and I know Pip isn't here, but he's another great friend who does another podcast, and it's made me start enjoying the whole aviation scene again, when it was getting to the point after so many years that it had become a bit stale in my mind, but that's not there anymore. Now it's lovely to meet friends and talk about old times, and spread the word that we're a great community and it's lovely to stick together. So thank you very much indeed.
Here's to you, Nick.
Cheers to Nick.
Cheers, Nick.
Lots of us have all come together to come up with a little gift that hopefully Jilly will permit you to possibly mount on your wall
Downstairs toilet.
Well, okay. So it's behind this tablecloth.
Okay.
And this is just the token of all of our appreciation, all of the community's appreciation for everything you've done and entertained us and informed us. So hopefully this provides a memento of your 48 years, you said?
Good.
Please.
Well, thank you very
It's-
much.
it's slightly
you
delicate.
couldn't find a clean
Well,
tablecloth?
No. That's for the Boeing pilots.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow. Oh, lovely. That's fantastic.
So
That's
hopefully
great.
you might notice it's a specific aircraft as well.
That's Foxtrot. That was the airplane that in the Phantom that had my own name on it, and that's F-18. And there you go. So that's beautiful. Who made this?
It's the guy that mug that I gave you last year, Jim Walks Glider. That was he does this.
Well, that
So
is
we all
beautiful.
commissioned him to create these pieces for you.
Oh, that is fantastic. Thank you very much indeed.
No problem at all.
Very kind.
Great, my pleasure.
Beautiful. Thanks very much indeed. It's absolutely fabulous.